Well, good morning everybody. It's Sunday, April 28th at about 10:55 in the morning. It's beautiful out, 20 degrees and a bit of a south wind blowing. I'm out in the garden today for the first time in t-shirt and shorts. First time this year in shorts, so other than my few bike rides that I had. But I'm out here today spreading our compost throughout the vegetable garden. As you can see behind me, we've already made small piles of it all through the garden, taking it from our main compost pile and then spreading it out with a wheelbarrow to even it out across the garden. Now I'm just raking those piles in, and then I'll go over it once or twice with the rototiller, and then the garden will be basically ready for planting. We also put our ashes in here from the wood stove quite often, and that adds to the fertility of the soil as well. So you can see through this section of the garden, I've already raked it out, so the compost looks quite even throughout this section. And once the rototiller goes over here a few times, it'll get all mixed into the upper layers of the soil, where it'll do all its wonderful stuff throughout the summer. So this compost is primarily composed of horse manure, plus the wood shavings that we give them to lay on as bedding in the winter. That's thrown out each day into a pile, and we turn it over several times throughout the year so it can rot better. We also add garden refuse, excess lawn clippings, weeds, things like that from these other gardens. So here on the farm we have very sandy soil in this area, so it's really important that we add compost to the soil. This allows it to hold more water during those hot, dry days of summer when the top layers tend to dry out completely and your plants can start wilting very quickly. So adding this compost helps the upper layers of the soil to hold moisture. It also adds nutrients to the soil, which help the plants to grow as well. of course, the big benefit of growing your own food in a garden like this is that you don't have to consume all the pesticides that you might otherwise be consuming from store-bought items. It's not always easy to buy totally organic at the grocery stores, and it's quite expensive to do that as well. We typically have plenty of potatoes to last us right through the winter. I think last year we were eating our own tomatoes up until mid-December, so just before Christmas. And then a lot of other things like squash and peppers and onions, leeks, all those things you can keep too in one way or another, freezing or what have you. So it's a real beneficial thing to do if you can do it. It is a fair amount of work. I won't kid you about that. It's a fair amount of work, but it does pay off in the long run, I think. It sure is nice to get out into the sun with shorts and t-shirt again. Boy, it's been a long time since we felt the warmth like that. It's over 20 degrees, I think, now. Beautiful. Just got the last few piles to rake in here. We could have actually had a bit more manure to fill in this area, but the base of the pile I was digging from is just over here, so I'll rotor-till some of that this way and it'll basically fill it in for the most part. There we go. Now I just got to get the rotor tiller. So this garden is about 13 meters by 45 meters long, or about 40 feet wide and 120 feet long. So there we are, the first tilling done. And that may be all it takes, or I may till it once again. It looks pretty good now, even after just the one tilling. Thankfully, because our soil is so loose with the sand. But that just gives a nice mixing of the compost in with the topsoil. and helps the plants to get a good start.